It was just another busy day at the high-end boutique when a quiet, unassuming woman walked through the doors. Her simple outfit and calm demeanor didn't catch much attention, except from the sales staff. They exchanged smirks, whispering under their breath, convinced she wasn't worth their time. With fake smiles and dismissive attitudes, they brushed her off, focusing instead on other customers who looked more important. But little did they know, this woman wasn't here to prove anything to anyone. She had a quiet confidence that didn't need validation. As the day unfolded, her actions and words revealed a powerful lesson about kindness, humility, and true value, one the saleswoman would never forget. What happened next left everyone in the boutique stunned, challenging their judgments and turning the entire room silent. This is the story of how one woman taught a priceless lesson without saying much at all. The saleswomen, Lisa and Jenna, were used to getting attention. Their flashy outfits and bold personalities often made them the center of every room they entered. They prided themselves on their ability to judge who was worthy of their time, and today, they had already made up their minds about the quiet woman. She looked like someone who wouldn't even be able to afford the luxury items in the store, let alone take up their time. As they went about their tasks, they couldn't help but exchange glances, whispering about her behind her back. "She doesn't even look like she knows what she's doing here," Lisa muttered, barely concealing her laughter. Jenna nodded, adding, "I bet she'll leave empty-handed." They didn't realize that their words weren't going unnoticed. The quiet woman, though seemingly lost in her own thoughts, was listening, every word. And what they didn't know was that she had a plan that would soon make them rethink everything. As the minutes passed, the quiet woman wandered the store, seemingly lost in the array of expensive items. She picked up a few things, examined them carefully, and placed them back on the shelves without a word. Lisa and Jenna watched her from a distance, exchanging more smirks. "She's probably just window shopping," Jenna whispered, her voice dripping with mockery. "I doubt she even knows how to match accessories." But what they didn't see was the woman's quiet determination. She wasn't just browsing, she was waiting for the right moment to show them something they never expected. Her calm demeanor hid a sharp mind, one that had been observing everything: the saleswoman's arrogance, the way they treated customers who didn't meet their standards. She knew how to play the game, and she wasn't going to let them get away with their assumptions. Meanwhile, Lisa and Jenna were growing more impatient. They had their eyes on the clock, eager to finish their shift. They saw the woman approach the counter, but instead of the usual hesitant, apologetic tone most customers used when they couldn't afford the items, she spoke confidently. "I'd like to purchase a few things," she said, her voice steady. But the saleswomen were too focused on their own assumptions to notice the shift in her tone. They exchanged a quick look, thinking this would be just another easy sale. They couldn't have been more wrong. As the woman placed the items on the counter, Lisa and Jenna exchanged another glance, their smirks widening. They were sure this would be a simple transaction, one where they could nod politely and move on to the next customer. But there was something different about the way the woman stood, her posture straight and confident, her eyes unwavering. It was almost as if she was daring them to make another assumption. Lisa began scanning the items, making small talk in a condescending tone. "You've got a good eye for quality," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "But, these pieces might be a bit out of your budget." Jenna chuckled under her breath, but the woman didn't flinch. Instead, she pulled out a sleek black credit card, one that caught the light just enough to make both saleswomen pause. It was a card none of them had ever seen before, the kind that only a select few were privileged to carry. The air in the store seemed to shift. Lisa's hand froze mid-scan, and Jenna's smile faltered. They exchanged a quick, uncomfortable glance, but neither of them could hide the tension that had suddenly filled the space between them. The woman, still calm and composed, didn't rush them. She simply waited, her eyes locked on theirs. It was clear now that she wasn't just another customer. Lisa cleared her throat, trying to regain her composure. "Is this your first time shopping with us?" she asked, her voice now less confident, more cautious. The woman nodded slowly, but there was a knowing look in her eyes, as if she had been here before, many times. "Is everything to your liking?" he asked, his voice smooth and calm, but with an unmistakable authority. The woman nodded, her lips curling into a small, almost imperceptible smile. It was a smile that left both Lisa and Jenna uneasy, as if they had just stumbled into something far beyond their understanding. The man turned to the saleswoman, his eyes narrowing slightly. "You've been treating her like she doesn't belong here, haven't you?" he asked, his tone cold, but not angry, just a simple statement of fact. The saleswomen, caught off guard, struggled to find words, their faces flushing with embarrassment. They had no idea who this man was, or why he was suddenly involved. The woman, still calm and collected, spoke up, her voice now carrying a weight that neither Lisa nor Jenna had anticipated. "I didn't come here to make a scene, but I believe in fairness. You've judged me without knowing anything about me, and that's something I won't stand for." The tension in the air thickened, and the saleswomen were left in stunned silence. The man smiled, as if this moment had been inevitable. "You should have treated her with respect from the start," he said quietly, before turning to the woman. "Shall we finish this, then?" Lisa and Jenna exchanged a nervous glance, unsure of what was happening or how far this was going to go. But they could feel it, the weight of the moment, the shift in power. The stakes had just been raised, and everything they thought they knew was about to be turned upside down. They were about to learn a lesson that would change everything. The man's gaze never wavered from the saleswoman as he spoke, his words cutting through the tension like a knife. "You've just learned something valuable today," he said, his voice low but firm. "This woman is more than just a customer. She's someone who has earned the respect of those who truly understand what value means." He turned to the woman, nodding in her direction, "And I'm sure she's about to teach you a lesson you'll never forget." Lisa and Jenna were still frozen, trying to process what was happening. The woman, who had been so quiet and composed, suddenly stepped forward, her presence commanding the room. She glanced at the items she had chosen, then back at the saleswoman, her eyes calm but piercing. "I could have walked away," she said, her voice steady. "But I didn't. Not because I wanted to prove a point, but because I believe in standing up for what's right." She turned to the man beside her, who had been silently watching the exchange. "I wanted to show them that respect isn't something that can be bought or assumed. It's earned." The saleswoman's faces burned with embarrassment. They had underestimated her, judged her based on nothing but their own biases, and now in front of them, she was about to teach them the most powerful lesson of all. The man smiled, his eyes softening. "And that's why I brought you here today. You've earned your place, not just in this boutique, but in the world. Never let anyone make you feel small." The woman nodded, then turned back to Lisa and Jenna, who were still processing the weight of the situation. "Next time you see someone like me, remember this moment," she said. "Don't judge based on appearances. You never know who you're dealing with." As the woman and the man turned to leave, Lisa and Jenna were left standing there, speechless. But just as they thought the moment was over, the man turned back with a sly smile. "By the way," he said, "I'm the owner of this boutique, and I think it's time for a change around here." With that, he walked out, leaving the saleswoman in stunned silence. The woman had not only taught them a lesson in respect and value, but she had also brought about a shift in the very foundation of the store they thought they knew. The lesson was clear: appearances can be deceiving, and true worth is something that can't be bought. The silence that followed was deafening. Lisa and Jenna stood there, processing everything that had just happened. The weight of their actions settled in, and the realization of their mistake was undeniable. They had judged the woman based on assumptions, and in doing so, had missed an opportunity to learn something valuable. In the days that followed, changes came to the boutique. Lisa and Jenna were called in for a meeting with the owner, who had made it clear that the store's values were shifting. It was no longer about appearances or superficial judgments. It was about respect, humility, and treating everyone with dignity.